Hey everyone, Wyloch here. As promised, I'm going to show you the terrain that I used in my game that I ran at MACE last month. It's called the Glass City of Pryzia. If it's in the future and I've published a module, which I'm thinking of writing right now because it was such a good experience, then welcome to the channel and enjoy. The setting, real quick, high level, we're in the Feywild or some plane similar to it, where the sun never sets, except in this remote corner where, due to a quirk of lunar alignment, a total eclipse once per year does result in 12 hours of night. Now, several hundred years ago, through design or accident, a portal was ripped open from this plane to a previously unidentified far plane, well beyond the outer planes. Imagine a blasted wasteland at negative 100 degrees and overrun with Cthulhu-like alien monstrosities. Well, they began to come through the portal and had to be constantly fended off. When no physical barrier proved effective, a coalition of mages and genies constructed Pryzia. Imagine a mountain a mile high. Now turn it upside down so its peak is on the ground, like a funnel. Now imagine it's made of glass. Of course, all that real estate begged colonization, which surely did happen, and Pryzia is now a major trade center. Thousands of faceted, symmetric chambers and hallways serve to refract and focus sunlight down into the portal, serving as an endless supply of intense heat to keep the invaders at bay. Except, of course, for those 12 hours of night, when there is no sun. This is called Frost Night, and it is a holy day in the glass city of Pryzia. 5 elite warriors called the Prismatic Guard don their arcane armor and bravely seal themselves in the portal's containment chamber, sworn to slay anything that comes through. The scenario begins on the morning of Frost Night. The way I ran this one-shot was the players didn't introduce each other, we just dove right in. The game started with the cleric down in the portal cave leading the Prismatic Guard in ritual prayer. This is the cave, and I gave it away at the end of the con, thinking I was done with it, totally forgot I needed it for this episode. Luckily there were lots of pictures taken. Here it is up close. There's the PC, there's the 5 Prismatic Guard, sun filter crystal veins in the wall which are shooting intense beams of focused heat down onto the portal, and the door is on that upper right ledge. So I had that player make up some ceremony stuff, which was quickly interrupted by this. A single tentacle of some creature that managed to breach through, and long story short, it slayed all 5 Prismatic Guard, with the last one gasping and telling the cleric to run and tell everyone what's happened. The door slams shut behind him as he flees, and we cut to this, a bazaar. Over in this corner there's a wizard shop, and one of the PCs, a thief-type rogue, is about to make his steal. I asked him what he's trying to steal, and I saved his idea for later on. However, the shopkeeper notices and catches him red-handed. The shopkeeper is a wizard, one of the players. So I had those two roleplay this moment out. Things elevated as expected, and then one of the city guard notices and comes over to check. This guard, a fighter, was the 4th player, and so I allowed a few more moments for role-playing. It's also revealed that a nearby customer witnessed the whole thing. This ranger is the 5th player. So the guard escorts the other 3 up to the high temple for judgment. After all, this kind of petty trouble is particularly insulting on such a holy day. And so the 4 of them traverse the crystalline hallways of the city all the way up to the prismatic pathway, a bridge that leads to the Grand Promenade, a temple of white marble that's suspended directly over the middle of the massive funnel that is this glass city. Up the prismatic pathway is a circular courtyard where the sacred armor of the 5 Prismatic Guard is kept on display year-round. Nearby there's some commoners praying for good luck this frost night, praying for success, fairly common sight in the gardens. Up the circular steps to the temple proper, and these are my low-profile tiles, so this is like a cutaway. But I did build this massive double clip-on because up on the roof of the temple is a weird-looking artifact spinning and pulsating erratically. In fact, this is a gyroscope. This is the thing that keeps this massive funnel-shaped city from tipping over. It is a crucially important and immensely powerful device. In the temple is the prefect or magistrate or whatever the title is of like your city authority. The guard briefs him on the situation. I allowed a beat for role-playing, and then the cleric bursts up the spiral stairway in the middle of the room, out of breath. I had the cleric player relay what had happened, and at this point, all 5 were together and acquainted, all within the game itself, no meta. Long story short, with all 5 of the elite warriors dead, and not wanting to incite a panic and riots in the city, it is decided that this will be kept secret and that these 5 individuals will step up, don the armor of the Prismatic Guard, and perform their duties this frost night. But they have 8 hours to kill, so they should go and equip themselves. So they went back down to the bazaar. Now I had a bunch of encounters in my back pocket to kill time if needed, but the table was moving at a good pace, so I let them interact with the vendors, buy potions and scrolls, haggle, just good old-fashioned Baldur's Gate style commerce. In the center of the plaza is one of the city's hundreds of focusing crystals. These glass beacons are designed to receive multiple beams of sunlight and emit a single, much larger beam downward to another beacon, which in turn receives larger beams and emits an even bigger beam downward, and so on until there's only a few unbelievably intense beams of sunlight that end up pointed directly on the portal to the frozen hell. Also around the bazaar is general goods, scrolls and books, a potion vendor, and Dejula. He's the jeweler. I played him with a Jersey accent, so you get it? Hey, I'm Dejula, how you doing? It worked at the table. Anyway, eventually dusk approached, and so they headed back up to the Grand Promenade. Each player was allowed to select which miniature they wanted, like Power Rangers. So, by the way, these are Custodian Guard from Warhammer 40k that I painted up with a rainbow motif. So each player now has a miniature, and they gotta remember their color. Up to the temple, where the prefect consults a tome on the shrine. Here's a close-up of this clip-on. Might do a dedicated episode on it in the future, but anyway, he reads from it to attune the souls of the dozens of Prismatic Guard that have served throughout the ages and passed on. The party goes down the spiral staircase, and, okay, this is hard to do with just one hand, but the level is removed to reveal a level below. And there are 5 nacelles with magical glyphs on the floor. Each player was allowed to select a nacelle. They would receive the glyph and place their miniature there to begin praying. Each of them role-played that out, and if they did good enough, they were rewarded with a blessing from one of the Prismatic Guard from ages past. They got one of these cards with a powerful single-use ability. My intent was, after buying anti-cold, strong fire-based stuff in the bazaar, coupled with these blessings, that would level the playing field in battle, since they were only level 3. Anyways, that done, down the spiral stairway, a whole mile, until they reached the containment door and went through. Now the cave is back on the table. Roleplay some good stuff, good luck, door slam shut. I won't bore you with all the encounters I had planned and how I handled their 12-hour shift, but among it there were 3 potential combats. A swarm of these frostmite-type flying critters. When they bite, there's a chance of freezing you solid. Then there was an ice weird. This was made by V, the crafting muse, and given to me this past summer at GuildCon. It has lashes that rake the entire perimeter of the room, and anything struck that fails a wisdom save has its mind swapped with another victim. And I had 2 players fail their rolls, so I had them switch character sheets. They had disadvantage on everything while in a foreign body because, after all, a wizard doesn't know how to use a great axe, right? And then at the 11th hour, this came through. Again, gift from V at GuildCon, but it was unpainted then. It's 3D printed. I did a lot of airbrush work on this. Actually, it's pure airbrush. White, a few different blues. The eye wasn't airbrushed. The base is hot glue that's just built up, and then I applied some gloss varnish to the carapace and the base, and while that was still wet, sprinkled on some blue and silver glitter. Nice frosty effect. Anyway, this thing's 3 main things are ruthless melee attacks with its tendrils, a devastating blast from its eye that has recharge just like a dragon breath, and the ability to instill crippling fear due to its utter alien nature. At some point in the battle, it blasts open the containment door and escapes up the stairwell, all the way up to the Grand Promenade where the final battle takes place. After spending so much time there so far, it's really jarring to see this weird alien thing in that set piece. The trees aren't permanent, so it picks them up and throws them at the party, the roots crackling in protest. Soon it takes notice of the gyroscope on top of the temple, and the situation becomes even more dire. So I left it to the party to try and kill it the old-fashioned way, or do something creative like rotate and calibrate some or all of the city's focusing crystals directly onto this thing. Anyways, if they kill it, they save the day, roleplay some ending. If you liked this particular project, here's 2 more that you should go check out right now. Also, enjoy this month's community showcase. And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell reminder icon. I am Wyloch, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.